So here's problem number 4 from the AP Stats Bluebook test preview. This multiple choice question tells us that in a recent year, the distribution of age for U.S. senators was unimodal and roughly symmetric with a mean of 65 years. The opening of that unimodal, roughly symmetric with a mean of 65 tells me that the population distribution is approximately normal, right? Roughly symmetric and unimodal are characteristics of an approximately normal distribution with a mean of 65. The standard deviation for the full population of U.S. senators is 10.6 years. They go on to say we're going to consider a simulation with 200 trials in which, for each trial, a random sample of 5 senators' ages is selected and the mean age, so sample mean, X bar, is calculated. Which of the following best describes the distribution of the 200 sample means? So what they're basically describing here is the beginning of the construction of a sampling distribution for a sample size of 5 for the ages of these U.S. senators. Some parameters for a sampling distribution that you can get from the formula sheet are listed down here. So the mean of the sampling distribution for these sample means is going to be the population mean. So the mean for our sampling distribution is going to be 65. The standard deviation for our sampling distribution of these sample means is going to be the population standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. Now here's where I would be a little concerned that we might make a mistake and decide that the answer is option C rather than option B. The 200 trials is just to indicate that the sampling process is being repeated over and over and over and over and over. Now it's technically not a full sampling distribution because they haven't found every possible sample of size 5 from the US senators. But if they conduct 200 trials where they randomly select 5 senators, they're constructing the beginning of that sampling distribution. So the standard deviation of that sampling distribution that's being constructed is not going to depend on how many trials were used to begin to construct that sampling distribution. It's going to depend on the sample size that occurred within each of those 200 trials. So the standard deviation of the sampling distribution is going to be the standard deviation of the population divided by the square root of the sample size, which is why we are going with option B.